People don't realize that every upbringing has a double-edged sword attached. Okay, there's benefits and negatives to the upbringing. Okay, so like the people who are born with a lot of privilege, what people don't realize is that a lot of the glory of life is stolen from them at birth because of that privilege. For example, I grew up kind of middle class, right? If I end up changing my family situation, then I'm essentially the hero of that story. But for example, Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son, he will always be Will Smith's son. Will Smith is the hero of that story, no matter what Jaden Smith does. So like a lot of glory got is already automatically stolen from him. I would not switch places with Jaden Smith, even though he is more privileged than I, because I want to be the hero of the story. I want to play the game of life and win the game of life my way. I don't want to follow nobody's coattails, essentially, right? Another thing is like a lot of people who grow up with less privilege end up having more will to succeed. That's why immigrants do so well in America a lot of the time, because when they come from a different place, they they come with a different perspective. They weren't born into privilege. They traveled into it, and then they realize and they appreciate the privilege they have when they get here. So they outwork a lot of the Americans that are born here. Okay, that's where the immigrant mindset comes in.
Yeah, I would say like a lot of people may, come from like a challenged background or whatnot, or like, life wasn't really going their way, or they've kind of done a lot of shitty things in their life. But you gotta ultimately remember, this is just something I took from one of Atachi things. It's like you don't know who you really are until the seconds before death. And what that means to me is that you have the ability to change who you are at any given time. Right. Only time you don't get time to change is when it's all over, when it's said and done. That's what I
And
got from
and
that.
and just to repeat, stop crying about people being born into privilege, okay? Because at least, as a good parallel, when I play video games, I put my shit on hard mode, okay, to have fun. I don't put it on easy mode because that's some soft shit, okay? So I'm glad I wasn't born into some easy shit. Okay, I'm glad that I'm the one making the changes in my life. I'm the one who's going to kind of create a different situation for my family. Okay, it gives glory to your life. Start framing it that way so that you could get over this whole victim mindset bullshit. Don't focus on your lack of privilege. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword. People that are privileged have their glory stolen from them. That's how I see it. That's the mental frame that I use. Having a lack of privilege allows you to have more glory when you actually succeed. It's like playing the game on hard mode. Once you finish the game, you feel like you did something more meaningful. Okay. So lack of privilege could give you that opportunity. See it as an opportunity, not a cost.
I mean, and I would just say like what you said right there, with the hard mode, you got to remember like people are not cognitive of the skills that go into a lot of things, but skills transfer over, right? You may learn something on something in hard mode, and it may challenge, you may say use that in another avenue of life, right? And that could speed up that transition to where you're going. And
Mhm.
that's very important. People don't really notice those skills on people's foreheads, and they just transfer over. Very important to do that, but mainly, guys, you got to understand that you only really have 80 summers, right? Like you got to stop thinking about 80 years and think about 80 summers because it makes it more finite in your brain.